Welcome to another edition of Web Chat with the Warden. I'm joined by Warden David Mayberry. How are you today, sir?
As good as I can be expected to be. It's a perfect day in September.
Great. Well, we have a very busy council meeting coming up. So first off, we have the Draft Zero Waste Plan coming up. Now, there's too much in here to go through all the minutiae of it now. But one thing that did catch my attention is $400,000 is being asked. Can you tell me what is that money for and where can we expect it to come from?
Okay, well first I think it's important that people understand that the Draft Zero Waste Plan is about how we get from where we are now, and that's probably producing about 100,000 tons of garbage a year, down to something significantly lower so that the county can actually keep their landfill operating at its current capacity till after 2100. That's sort of the goal. And with the provincial government moving forward on climate change and the Waste-Free Ontario Act and the Waste-Free Ontario Strategy, it's an ideal time for us to be exploring these issues. We are in step with the direction of the province. And as often happens these things, the province knows where they want to go but doesn't quite know how to get there. So the county has come forward with the plan, which is based on the CASL criteria. And the plan basically is going to take us from where we are now to where we need to go. The first step, as you mentioned, is the $400,000 that staff are asking to be taken from the landfill reserve. So for the money that we have set aside to create the next landfill, they're asking to take some of that money and use it to extend the life of our landfill so that, in fact, we don't need another landfill. And so the $400,000 will be used, part of it will be used for studying an in-depth, a very complex audit of our current garbage. What are we actually producing? Not what do we think we're producing or that. And we also want to get a good handle on how much of our waste is actually leaving Oxford County, and that we could maybe capture somewhere. And so that if we can understand the kind of the full breadth of our waste production in Oxford, then we know that we'll start working on some of the solutions. So it's kind of make sure you understand the question before you start thinking of the answers. The second part is, in fact, the second half of the ask is about, well, what are the answers to our problems? So at the same time as we'll be looking at what is the waste being produced, we'll be looking at what are some of the options to get rid of it and to reuse it or compost it, whatever. And so it's an exciting time. I look forward to these two reports, and I hope that council will support them.
And now, staying in the vein of green, there are some housing develops here that are coming up in Tillsonburg and Woodstock, and now they're working on a passive structure. Can you tell me, what does that mean there?
Okay, so the Passive House Standard is a standard for the quality of construction and the amount of energy that they use. And so these buildings will be built to a much higher standard. And the idea is that they will use 80 to 90% less energy than a conventionally built home or building. And it's in that saving of energy that in fact will pay for the extra cost. So we know that these buildings will probably cost somewhere between 8 and 10% more than a standard building. But if you save 80 to 90% of the energy over the next 20, 30 years, you'll get all that money back and then some. And so that's sort of the intent. So in both Tillsonburg and Woodstock, in Tillsonburg we're providing just over $1 million, $1.1 million, and in Woodstock about just over $1 million to build 38 new units for people who are struggling and need some help. And it's part of our corporate responsibility. This is in part money that has come from the province for this purpose, and the county is pleased to be part of it. We're pushing the envelope a little bit as part of a renewable energy plan, knowing that every new building needs to be better built so that it consumes less energy, so that in the future we need to produce less energy.
So do you think in the future we'll see more of these types of developments?
I would hope that the county would sort of accept the Passive House Standard as kind of their standard at the level. It isn't just about saving energy, it's about the quality of the air exchange systems, all that come into the home, that recapture all the energy they can, and then provide a better, fresher, healthier environment for the people living in these residences.
All right, well, we have these issues and more coming up at Council tomorrow. And of course, it is open to the public. Thank you again for joining me today, Warden, and we will see you next time.